Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Look, let me just acknowledge my colleague, the Honourable Damon O'Connor, for ushering through an issue that's obviously very important to the people of his particular electorate. It's also an issue where nobody wins at the end. Sure, that we're validating this bill to allow the council to rectify a mistake they made. If we didn't do that, however, the council would still need to find the money somehow, and the council would still need to depend on ratepayers. In saying that, I have to say that from what I've heard from colleagues throughout this House, most of us are reluctant participants in this affair. Most of us support the bill with a great deal of reluctancy, particularly when we are validating a mistake made by councils. And I can imagine, sir, what the ratepayers who brought this mistake to the attention of the council and to this House must be feeling at this particular point in time. And I would just say to the council that despite the authority and the power that they'll be able to wield with this particular piece of legislation, they are still charged with care in responding with some responsibility to the people that brought this wrong before them. And I suppose I'm not going to try and dictate to the councils what they ought to be doing, but they do need to recognise that their ratepayers, the people who are in that city, in that town area, who are dedicated to it. If they weren't dedicated to it, they wouldn't have brought this to their attention, will have a right to feel some sense of a grievance about the wrong that's been done here. And I think they need to just not be holding up this piece of legislation once we sign off on it and saying this is what we're going to do. But I think they have a responsibility to meet with the ratepayers concerned and try and accommodate the circumstances that they must face themselves in. Now, despite my name being on the committee report, Chair, I unfortunately did not get the opportunity to hear a lot of the submissions that were presented here. So I didn't get an opportunity also to meet the ratepayers that have brought this to our attention. And so I simply say to my colleague and to the council listening in, I think they still have a responsibility to meet with the ratepayers concerned and to attempt to find some accommodation in the concerns or issues that they have raised as a result of the mistake made by the council. I want to turn to the technical amendments and ask my colleague that the technical amendments suggest that the committee looked at 5A, 6 and 9. And the clause 9, however, I'd like to know whether my colleague, the council and his council are okay with that, because the committee did consider it, but they were advised that that was out of the scope of the bill. But I'm wondering why that was raised in the first instance anyway. I want to respond briefly to the comments made by the previous speaker about the better local government. This is not the time to be promoting a policy which I think... Mr. Chair.
I apologise. I got a little bit confused as to where I was. I gave the member a 1-minute bell and that was my mistake. I've been under pressure lately. I apologise. You have 1 minute.
Look, I accept your apology, Chair, and thank you for giving me that 1-minute notice. This is not the time to be... Well, I would say to the previous speaker that I would be very careful about promoting better local government, because as I go around the country and meeting up with mayors, what they are saying to me is something very, very different from what the previous speaker said. In fact, some have said to me that better local government policy is really quite deceptive, because it's more about removing democracy from local governments. And so you know, at a period of time when local governments are under attack, these kinds of bills just do not help the cause of local government.
Sir William Seo.
So just briefly, at a period of time when local governments are under constant attack by the reform that this government is driving. I mean, it was only the other day that mayors felt that they had to meet in secret, you know, and try and force the Minister of Local Government to come and listen to their concerns. And that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign when local government mayors have to try and force the local government minister. It's her job to be listening to the mayors. Yep. And I understand that she didn't bother. I think the minister of local government now is Paula Bennett.
What?
But I think she's just the face of local government. I think there are probably others behind the scenes who are trying to drive this undemocratic, what they call better local government. So coming back to the bill, though, these kinds of bills do not bode well for this House, for local government in particular, particularly at a time, because I suspect this government would probably be going around the country holding up these as examples of why they feel vindicated by not trusting local government more and more. Anyway, I commend my colleague again, the Honourable Damon O'Connell. What a wonderful Member of Parliament he is, championing the cause of ratepayers, recognising his duty to those voters in the District of Tasman, and may I wish him all the best in the coming elections in September 20.
Honourable Phil Heatley.